fam, welcome back. I hope you're doing fantastic. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Esther, MsTopacJay. I'm going to try not to shout in today's video. And I'm also going to try not to talk too fast. Now, I said try. It might not happen, but I'm going to try. Because I know I talk fast, especially like when I see the time. I also talk fast IRL and I talk loud IRL as well, like in real life. But in my videos, I notice I talk hella fast, like faster. So I'm going to try as much as possible to kind of slow myself down a little bit. But it's all up to this brain right here, because my brain works faster than my mouth, so my mouth tries to keep up. Okay, anyway, so into this video, as you can tell by the title, we're going to be trying out the new Laura Mercier translucent powder shade. And they came out with the shade Honey. If you don't know already, if you don't know this powder at all, Laura Mercier translucent powder has been a cult favorite for a long time, ever since they came out with their original translucent powder, and a lot of people have been raving about it, including myself. I love the powder. They also came out with a medium deep shade as well not so long ago, and I love it. I got that as well. And a few days ago I learned that they actually came out with another shade called Honey, and I said that is awesome, because it's actually much needed. And Laura Mercier, can I say, great marketing tactic. You know, I feel like you knew you were going to come out with this shade all that long. You were just trying to play us and just say, oh, you know, let's just hold on a little bit and reel them in a little, and then boom, bring out the shade. Stop doing that. Thank you. Anyway, so they came out with a new shade called Honey, and this one's supposed to be for medium to deep skin tone. Let's check. Okay, so this translucent one is meant to be for fair to medium skin tone. The shade Honey, which is the new shade, is meant to be for medium skin tone, and the shade medium deep is meant to be for medium to deep skin tone. So if you're my shade or close to my shade, if you're kind of like on my spectrum, you know that the shade medium deep, especially if you know this powder already, you know the shade medium deep is not good for our under eyes and whatnot, like us. It's too deep for the under eyes. And sometimes the shade translucent can be a little bit too brightening, especially if you don't apply it correctly, like, or if you apply it on top of a concealer that's already light, you know what I mean? So I'm really interested to see how the shade translucent Honey is going to play out. So instead of just focusing on the shade translucent Honey, because I feel like if I was to just focus on that for this video, I can literally do this video in like 5 minutes and tell you about it, because the only thing that I see that's different is the shade, not so much the specification of the actual products. The formula is still the same to my knowledge. Yeah, so there's not much difference there. It's mainly the shade. So instead of just focusing on that, I kind of want to use all three shades since I've got it. I don't know how that happened. Just kind of use them, I don't know, just use them throughout my makeup and show you how you and I, because I haven't used this yet, how we can both use translucent Honey. Hopefully it will work for us, you know what I mean, you and I. But I do know that the shade translucent works for me for my under eyes, and I also use it to apply all over my face as well before I actually got the medium deep, especially to set my primer. But ever since I got the medium deep, I've been using this one to set my primer because of the shade. You know, it's just more natural, like less lighter or brightening and whatnot. Okay, so with that being said, I'm just gonna go ahead and apply primer. So I'm actually gonna double prime today. I'm going to be using the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Instant Retouch Primer in my perimeter. I'm also gonna put a little bit in my T-zone as well, but for my T-zone I'm gonna use the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop primer, because this thing right here is oil controlling, oil minimizing, oil blocking. Okay, like I'm not going anywhere, so why am I doing this? Why not? So now I'm gonna go ahead and use the shade medium deep to set the primer, and it's just really good to just like lock your base, which is your primer, into place. And if you apply it properly, like if you use an actual translucent powder or a powder that's supposed to like dissipate to the skin, you wouldn't have any problem with it when it comes to like applying your foundation. It's not gonna apply like bulky or whatever, you know what I mean? Like it's just gonna, you know, your foundation is gonna blend beautifully on top of it and without like moving. So you're supposed to like just apply a fair amount, just a little amount, to be able to set the primer itself. So as you can see, the shade medium deep sets my primer beautifully, and without like really making my face look like I've applied like foundation or, you know, makeup or whatever. Like it just sets the primer itself. So now that our base has been mattified, I'm gonna go ahead and apply foundation. But first, I'm just going to contour underneath before I proceed with foundation. This is the Fenty Beauty Matte Stick in the shade Espresso. So now before I go ahead and set the foundation, I'm going to go ahead and apply concealer. Let's use this one because it's right here. This is the MAC Studio Fix 24 Hour Smooth Wear Concealer in the shade NW42. All right, so now that I've gone ahead, I literally just did a whole spiel, said the whole thing, and I wasn't recording. Anyway, so now that I'm done blending out the concealer, I'm gonna go ahead and use the translucent shade. By the way, I'm of warm golden undertone, just in case you are interested and you don't know. Okay, so now I'm just gonna use the translucent shade to set the one on my chin right here, just kind of show you the shade itself. Or should I use it on one side and use the honey on the other? I think I might do that. So this is what the honey one looks like. It's literally the same packaging. They went with a different font altogether. So this is the translucent one. I don't know if this means anything to you. This is the medium deep, and now we've got honey. So they went with a totally different font, but the size and everything is still the same. Let's see. So this is 29 grams, 29 grams, 29 grams. They're all the same. So the size is the same. It's just translucent honey, translucent medium deep, and translucent, the original. So let's do a comparison. Let's do it side by side. Okay, I already know how the translucent one looks, what it looks like on my face. I already know that. But let me just show you the difference, I guess, you know, just in case you're curious, especially if you already have the translucent and the medium deep, or just the translucent and you trying to figure out whether or not you should get it. So I don't know if you heard the peely thing just then. Obviously it had like a sticker thing to cover the holes of the powder, which is the same with the other packaging. The shade looks like the shade of you know, the Fenty Beauty powder in the shade Banana, which I actually can't find right now, but it is what it is. And this is the Dermablend Loose Setting powder that I love, but this is in the shade Warm Saffron, and it's more rich in, like, it's more golden, you know, in shade. Do you know what I mean? And I love this. It also has a great coverage. You know, it's not translucent, but it's awesome. So this is the honey shade right here. This one seems a bit more banana-y, to be honest with you, but not as banana-y. And this is the original. So this is medium deep and this is honey. I'm gonna go ahead and apply translucent on this side. So you see the shade comparison. The shade is definitely obviously different, translucent and honey. So let's apply translucent on this side. And I took too much, but it's okay. It blends in, which is nice. It does give you a little bit of a brightening under eye, you know, brighter under eye. But if you sit there and you keep blending, it's going to dissipate a little bit more. So that is translucent, and this is honey. So this is honey. Oh. This reminds me of that Fenty Beauty powder shade that I had, and I just can't find my sample. I had a sample, but oh, there it is. Banana. Oh my gosh, it's right here. Yes. Yes. That's literally. Oh, wow. I like the Laura Mercier formula more. There's a little bit of difference, but they're very similar. Like, can you tell which is which? They're very similar, like almost the same. So this is Fenty Beauty in the shade Banana. Can you see? This one's Fenty Beauty in the shade Banana, and this is the translucent honey. And obviously the Fenty Beauty powder is not translucent, you know, but yeah, just thought to show you the shade. Like if you've got Fenty Beauty powder in the shade Banana, the shade, you already kind of have the shade in your collection. But if you want the translucent version of it, then go ahead, you know. All right, so there we go. I've been dabbing the same for a long time. So, wow, I actually kind of like this. What do you think? I like the honey shade, you know. Which side do you like better? I think I might like honey more, and I think it's probably because I can see the brightening effect of it in comparison to the translucent, where it's just disappeared into my skin a lot more. Here, this is translucent. And I took it too far up, but that's okay. I like the translucent as well, but I also like honey. Honey, honey. This is honey. And the moment I pick up the powder and I apply it, there's actually no more remnants of the powder. Like the powder doesn't stay on the sponge. You know what I mean? So I can still use the same sponge. So that's honey under there. I like it. I like them both. I like all three shades. So now let's go ahead and use medium deep to set my foundation. So I'm just gonna pick up medium deep with the butt of my sponge and just dab off the excess because I took too much, and just apply to set the foundation. And I'm gonna bring it up a little bit to kind of like melt into honey or translucent, you know, on both sides. And you see, like, it doesn't really change the color of the foundation itself. It just disappears into the foundation, which is really nice. And that's what I really love. you know. But if I was to use like another powder or whatever that doesn't have a translucent formula, it's gonna change the color of my foundation. So if you already have medium deep, yes baby, like we're gang, you know. We're in the secret society. We're in the secret club, you know. And if you already have translucent, awesome. If you've got the Fenty Beauty powder, you know, in the shade banana, or I do believe they have a shade called honey. I don't have that. Do I have it? Do I have it? Hold on. I don't have it. But yeah, what was I saying? I don't know. That conversation is dead. Let me apply honey on this side as well, because I apply translucency on this side and I feel like my under eye looks different. Actually, I really like this side as well, you know. Which side do you like better or more? This is honey. This is translucent. Just apply honey here. And just apply the rest of it here as well. Why not? I'm just gonna go ahead and finish the rest of my makeup, and I'll come back with my final thoughts on the shade. All right, I'm back. So final thoughts on the honey shade. I like it. I really do. You know, I feel like it would be really good to still have in my collection once I finish the translucent, because the translucent is literally almost finishing, but I had to stop using it because I didn't want to finish using it. So it'd be a good replacement, especially because of the fact that this is more for my skin tone. Do you know what I mean? The translucent one is good as well. You know, it disappears into the skin really well, but I really like the effect the honey kind of gives me, like kind of brightens my under eye a little bit without actually brightening it too much. Do you know what I mean? Like it still disappears a little bit into the skin, but it still leaves me with a nice effect. Do you know what I mean? I've seen a few people complain about the translucent shade being too bright for their under eye, and I always kind of question in my mind, like, I wonder what shade of concealer they're using. If you're using concealer that's already a little bit brighter and then you set it with a powder, it's going to appear brighter, especially if you set it with a translucent powder that's not supposed to alter the shade of your foundation or concealer too much or even at all. From my experience, if you're going to use translucent powder, use it with a concealer that is not too bright. Like, except if you're going for that brighter under eye and then you're going with that concealer, that makes a lot of sense, you know what I mean? But if you're not going for that and go with a brighter concealer, or a concealer that's not really matching your undertone or even the undertone of the foundation, or it's not really correlating with the undertone of the foundation you already used or your undertone itself, then your under eye is going to look a lot brighter. It's not so much the powder per se, it's mostly your concealer, you know. Yes, the powder will play a little bit of a factor, but it's mostly your concealer, you know. So that's why I did that. So I applied 3 different concealers because I was curious to see what it would look like if I were to use a more warm golden kind of undertone concealer in comparison to the one I use under my eyes. So this is the MAC Studio Fix I use under my eyes. You already see how it looks like under my eyes. And this is the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Concealer in the shade 370, and this one is more warm, neutral kind of shade. And this one right here is the Juvia's Place I Am Magic Concealer in the shade 12. And look at that. Like, this is exactly the shade of my Dermablend Loose Setting Powder. So if I do want a more warm under eye, because right now my under eye looks a bit more kind of neutral, warm, if that makes any sense. If I want a warm golden under eye, I can still use the honey shade, but I just have to pair it with a concealer that is more that undertone. Does that make sense? So I really like this under my eyes. I like the way this kind of shade looks under my eyes a lot, which is why I always go for my Dermablend Loose Setting Powder. But the fact that I can use the honey with a more warm golden undertone kind of concealer and still get the same effect, I'm excited to have it in my collection, you know. I don't know if that made any sense at all. Let me know if it made sense to you, and let me know if that kind of helped you to kind of decide whether or not you should get the shade or not, you know. I honestly feel like if you're not a product reviewer or whatever like I am, and you already have other powders in your collection, you might not need it. But if you love translucent powders and you love the Mercier powder already, and you're looking for something to just work better for you, and you're on the same spectrum as kind of like my skin tone spectrum or whatever, I would recommend it. I really like it. Okay. All right, well, that's all I've got to say in this video. I feel like this video is too long already. I just kept rambling on. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think. Have you already got the powder? Let me know down below. Or are you considering getting it? I really like it. It's a bit expensive, but I really like it. I like it. I mean, it still doesn't beat this, but for a translucent powder, I keep saying that, I like this translucent powder. Actually, do I have any other translucent powder in my collection that I like? Do I have any at all? I probably do. I think Laura Mercier might be the only translucent powder I've got in my collection. Alright, so thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Okay, if you did, please give it a thumbs up. Also share this video as well. We're almost at 10,000 babes. I am so excited. And I really, really want to thank you guys. Thank you babes for riding with me, for sticking with me, you know. Yeah, thank you. Anyway, thanks for watching, as I said. And as always, forever to love yourself. By God's grace, I pray. I see you in my very next video. Bye. Also, did I do well in terms of talking fast or slower?